Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Dr. Falah Abu and my fellow friends. My name is Nur Aina Rafiqah and today I'm going to talk about mutualism. In nature, plants and animals interact all the time, but it can be a lot more complicated than just one thing eating another. These relationships between two organisms can be examples of what we call symbiosis, interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association, typically to the advantage of both. One of the interactions is mutualism, which is a positive reciprocal relationship at the individual or population level between two different species, which both species can enhance their survival, growth, and also fitness. A classic example for this interaction is between plants and pollinators, which is basically a win-win situation. Pollinators like bees and butterflies will fly from flower to flower, feasting on the nectar. In the meantime, the pollen that sticks on their bodies transfer from one flower to the next flower, which then allows the pollinated flowers to develop into fruit. There are 4 types of mutualism, which are obligate, facultative, dispersive, and defensive. Firstly, obligate mutualism is the relationship between two species that are fully dependent on each other. Thus, none of the partners can lead an independent life. This can be seen in symbiotic association of algae and fungi to form lichens.
A lichen is an organism that results from a mutualistic relationship between a fungus and a photosynthetic organism. The other organism is usually a green algae or cyanobacterium. The fungus that grows around the algal cells benefit from the constant supply of food produced by the algae, while the algae will benefit from water and nutrients absorbed by the fungus.
Another example is mycorrhizae, which is an association between a fungus and plants, which plant will supply energy to fungi and fungal hyphae will take up mineral nutrients from the soil and transport them into plants' roots. Without wasting any second, let's take a look at the video.
Mycorrhizae is the term used to describe the symbiotic relationship between mycorrhizal fungi and a plant's root system. First, the spore of mycorrhizal fungi germinate in the soil and make their way to the nearest roots. The roots are then colonized by the fungi and mycorrhizae are established. The fungi penetrate the root and create an internal network of fungal structures inside the root cells where the plant and mycorrhizae exchange sugars and nutrients. Finally, the hyphae continue to develop outside the roots, forming an extended network of fine filaments which cover up to 700 times more soil area than the plant's own roots.
Isn't that really interesting? On the other hand, facultative mutualism, which is the interacting species derive benefit from each other but not being fully dependent, that each cannot survive without the symbiotic partner. For example, we can see this facultative mutualism between coral reef entozoans and photosynthetic zooxanthellae.
The corals and algae have a mutualistic relationship. The coral will provide the algae with a protected environment and compounds they need for photosynthesis. In return, the algae produce oxygen and help the coral to remove waste.
Moving on to defensive mutualism, which involves species where one mutualistic partner will receive food or shelter and in return provides to its partner defense against herbivore, predators, or parasites.
The mutualistic association between acacia plants and the ants that live on them is an excellent example for defensive mutualism. The plants will provide food and accommodation in the form of wood bodies and nectar, as well as hollow thorns which can be used as nests. The ants return this favor by protecting the plants against herbivores.
Last but not least, the dispersive mutualism, which is the interaction between insects or animals and plants, where animals acquire nectar from the flower while facilitating the transfer of pollen grains. For instance, we can see this interaction between yucca moths and plants. Let's look at the video.
The moths actively pollinate the yucca flowers into which they oviposit, and the plants rely on these moths for pollination. The moth larvae will feed on the developing seeds, and those eaten seeds are the major cause of this mutualism for the plants. Without the yucca moth, the yucca plant will lose its only pollinator, and without the plant, the moth will lose its food source.
That's all from me, and I hope you guys gain a lot more information about mutualism from this video. Thank you.